We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you is Tuesday, May 19th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Cheska.
Happy Tuesday, everyone!
Happy Tuesday! Also, Moon News with us.
Happy Tuesday!
Happy Tuesday! Both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're already on the second day of the work week, and for many of us, that means we're looking for something a little more interesting to keep us going. And today's topic is one that's becoming harder and harder to ignore. AI-generated art. From realistic portraits to original music and even full-length videos, artificial intelligence is now creating works that can be surprisingly convincing. So, Cheska, where have you personally seen AI-generated art in real life?
Yeah, Susan, as you said, I'm actually seeing more and more of these AI-generated art, and a lot these days, especially I think in advertisement. Like I see virtual idols, music stars, a lot of even character-generated things like animations. And the one thing that I actually feel as a viewer and a consumer is, you know how they put little like comment that this is AI-generated art.
Right.
They're so realistic that when I first see it, I don't even realize, and then I kind of see the comment. And this is just me personally. I feel like I've been tricked.
They're so good.
They're so good, and it kind of, as we'll discuss further in the episode, it kind of makes me think about, okay, where do we draw the line of creativity and like the real art when it looks so realistic that it even confuses like normal viewers like myself. Yeah.
Right, I see. So what about you, Moonju?
Yeah, you know, I'm a huge baseball fan, so there are some many YouTubers who like review the games and like live broadcast the game. And at the end of their videos, there are always a song like really reflecting the day's game. I was like, how can is this even possible? Like, are they making a song or not? And then I realized that it's based on AI music composition applications or something. So I think we're really seeing the AI very close these days in many platforms. So, you know, from tracks that capture our ever-changing daily lives and songs reflecting the specific events of our day, I think we've all started hearing about this across a wide variety of fields.
I think that's such a great example of how seamlessly AI has entered our everyday lives, and sometimes we don't even realize we're listening to something created by a machine until someone points it out. And that's why we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. The rise of artificial intelligence is transforming the way people work, and few fields have felt the impact as dramatically as the arts. AI can now generate paintings, music, scripts, and even films that closely mimic human creativity. But this new technology is also raising difficult questions about ethics, copyright, and what should ultimately be recognized as art. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at the new standards being introduced in the film industry to address AI, how similar debates are unfolding across other artistic fields, and what experts have to say about whether AI-generated works should be considered true art. Just as I saw in a video, the film industry is one of the many industries that is beginning to draw clear lines around how AI can and cannot be used. And some uses are being accepted while others are being ruled out altogether. So what are the new rules the film industry is introducing for AI, Jessica?
Yeah, film industry is very interesting because right now the conversation isn't simply AI versus humans. It's more complicated than that. It's about how to have technology and creativity sort of coexist without replacing or harming the human soul at the center of it, which is kind of the important thing about film creation. And in the creative industry, conversations are already happening. For instance, at this year's Cannes Film Festival, organizations officially stated that films using AI-generated actors or chatbot-written screenplays will not be eligible for awards. However, they also clarified that AI can still be used as a technical tool like special effects or image enhancements that are difficult to achieve through live-action filming and require more engineering. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which actually oversees the Oscars, has also been moving towards stricter standards around AI involvement. So the common theme here that we're seeing isn't they aren't banning AI altogether. It's more about where is the line for human creativity to sort of lead the creative and the AI assistant to support and follow for it to be considered quote unquote art. Yeah.
So I thought of several things when you were saying that. One, that it says a law that they think they have to stipulate that. Like, it's not, they can't win any awards.
Yes, now we have to draw clear boundaries about like the qualifications, right? Yeah.
Right, it shows how widespread it really has become. So the focus is not on banning AI entirely, but on preserving human creativity at the heart of filmmaking. So with that in mind, we are going to ask our panelists a few quick fire questions to see where they stand on AI-generated films.
Okay. Here we go.
We have our pals with us. So first one is, would knowing a film was made by AI affect your viewing experience? Cheska, do you want to go first? Which I think I can kind of guess what you might say.
This one is a hard yes. It would definitely. I mean, for me, art is about labor. I think I'm very old-fashioned, but it's about the time and effort that has been put in. So if I was watching something, like a movie, and I'm so immersed in it, I'm crying, and it says AI-generated character, I'd be like, what? I would feel a little bit fooled. Yeah.
Right. I think that's why people feel betrayed by this, because art is supposed to be part of this grueling effort and like time spent on this. But so what are your thoughts on this?
It was a tricky question, but I would say no, because technological advancement that we're experiencing these days, it's very unbelievable. It's very great. But the immersive power of art, I think, isn't really necessarily defined by the presence or the absence of technology, I think. So whether it's masterfully setting the atmospheric tone of a storyline or like meticulously recreating the lost sounds of a bygone era, I believe these technological breakthroughs act as like compelling elements that ultimately elevate our entire cinematic experience, but like not too much of it. So I would have to go with no for this time.
I see, that's quite interesting. So one of you values that human effort behind art, while the other is more focused on the final result. So the next question, I feel like it's a bit harder in my opinion. So should AI actors be paid like human actors? Cheska, what are your thoughts on this?
This one, so I would say yes, but because it's kind of going with what Munju just said, because AI is also part of a creation. There's an effort being put into creating something, and it is an asset, so I do think you have to pay for it. The only question is, how much to pay the real actor and how much to pay an AI-generated actor is still up for discussions. But yes, it should be paid.
And also for me, the question would be, who exactly would be getting that check?
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it the person who made that AI?
Yes.
Is it the person who's like, making the prompts?
Right. Or who hired and is making the profit off of it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
really
what your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
All right, Cheska and I are not going along with today.
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised. Okay, so I'm Max for this question. But it's similar reason, but just in a different perspective. I think.
I like it. Bring it on.
Strictly speaking, let's say these are like characters that generated by AI, right? And so it's not actually like human individual. So I think it is kind of unnecessary to treat them as an actual human being. If we were to pay them, we obviously cannot pay like directly to a character because there's no human being.
There's no physical form to pay.
Yeah, so we're gonna pay AI program or creator or the third party that we're already paying it. So I think it's kind of unnecessary to pay the actual or the not actual human being or the fake characters. So I think I have to go X with this question. So let's see for our next question.
Oh, okay, bring it on.
So this raises an interesting question. Then, should AI be treated as a creative tool or as a valuable asset? So the next question I have is, should then deceased actors be recreated with AI for new films?
This one is really interesting.
Especially because we have a lot of films, biopics coming out with Michael Jackson and stuff.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. What are your
And there are so many great actors and historical figures that people want to resurrect and see in the film. I would say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit. It's a tricky question.
It is, yeah.
But I think it's who would you get the consent from, sort of, and I think you have to be really careful about, the heritage, the legacy, and kind of would they, because we can't ask them if they want to be used commercially. So I think these are some of the questions that we have to be really careful about when we do use AI generated.
As long as you are kind of open to it, then.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Munju?
Okay. the consent part, I
Yes.
think we're not going along with it here. You know,
Clearly.
in the merchandise part, yeah, I think it's kind of very cautious approach that we have to take. But you know, as long as the consent from the family has been given, I think we could, and it is acceptable. Because you know, if the lead actor's distinct performance, you know, expressions, and voice are the perfect fit for the film, I think we might be able to use the technology, you know, in fact, you know, Korean singers, Turtle, we have been experiencing those AI voices that kind of go along perfectly with their new song, old songs. I think this could be one approach that we could use in the film industry.
I guess this could be a way to kind of also preserve their legacy. You know?
Yeah,
And
but
for
you
the
have to be
fans
very
especially.
cautious.
It is.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sensitive things
Very,
go along. So even when the technology makes something possible, it's the ethical concerns that do remain. So another one is, would you pay full price to watch then an AI-generated film, Cheska?
Oh my God. Yes, because engineering, like I said, kind of like the AI actor, it is also a work put in, but I would like to be told that it is an AI generated movie. And then maybe I can decide how much I want to pay. But this is such a difficult question because the definition of art has always been blood, sweat, and tears for me. So I don't know how much I want to, as a customer, reward the AI technology or AI engineering work at the moment, because I don't know how much effort it would be compared to actually creating something from scratch.
Right, that's the thing. I feel like people aren't aware, like I'm not aware of how much really would go into creating an AI generated film versus actually, you know, a whole crew getting together making a film.
Yes, and that's not to downgrade or diminish the effort that these people go into creating it. But would it be same? I don't know. Yeah.
Right. What about you, Munju? Are you still on a different page?
All right. Today it's 044. I'm on the different page. You know, I think generally, if you are willing to pay at least the same price, I guess, it's because we recognize the human effort involved in the film, right? But if you are creating this with the AI, I think human effort is less put in, and you are like getting the help from the AI. So I think if the full price we are talking here is current price that we pay for watching a movie created by a human, I think there should be a price difference because we have to appreciate the human effort here. So I think I would not pay the exactly same price. Probably a little lower price. I might watch it, try it, but yeah.
So you're willing to pay, but not as much.
Yeah,
basically.
correct.
I see. All right. So to get a more in-depth perspective on this, we're going to talk to someone in the film and acting industry, and that conversation will take place right after the break. So don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts. And cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Anna, German filmmaker and actress based in Korea. So hello, Anna. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So Anna, how do you use AI personally in your creative process?
I have to admit, I use it a lot. Even like before this interview, I just sent the question to AI just to see what they will answer. But I feel I'd use it more as an assistant because once I actually tried to write a full script, a film script with AI. And it just didn't feel like me. I showed it to people, and once all the sentences that were created with AI, people just felt it wasn't like how I wanted to tell the story. So I try not to use it actually for script writing, but as an assistant, just to talk about like different ideas, because I think the creative process, one really important part is like brainstorming. But if you don't have somebody to talk with, I think AI is a really good tool. And also just to play with different visual ideas. For example, I'm writing on a sitcom right now. And for the pitch paper, I used AI to create a mock-up poster. And it looks really fun. It's exactly like the style I wanted. And it just like gives a lot of like more feeling for the pitch paper.
And I also write scenarios and creative writing a lot. And I love what you said about the fact that you need this brainstorming partner to get the ideas coming in. And AI definitely can be a great assistance. So how can AI, in your opinion, help the film industry? But also, what concerns does it actually raise when it comes to using it?
I think for filmmaking, you always need like investment. So for the pitching part, for the pre-production process, I think AI is a huge help just to have the ability to convey the idea a little bit more vividly. And I do think that it helps independent creators. For example, I was also creating a short reel and used AI, and it was just so much easier and also saved a lot of money, I would say.
Yeah.
And recently, I actually saw that CJ, they created a whole feature film within 4 days. It's called The House. I haven't seen it yet, but it was filmed in front of green screens with AI. And just from looking at the trailer, it looked quite good. So I'm still open to watch it and see how much actually like budget going on locations can be saved while making movies. But for concerns, I think, of course, like copyright. I wasn't aware of that, but me asking and sending my script to ChatGPT, for example, they also save this to give ideas to other people. And now I became a little bit more cautious, not actually to share all my creative ideas. And I think that is probably the biggest concern for myself. But as you also said in Cannes right now, people are talking a lot about AI and the new movies that are coming up. And there's actually a group of 5 German filmmakers. They released a statement. It's called Dogma 25. And they say we are against AI movies and have these rules and how to like get people back to more raw, more human, more authentic content. I think that's really interesting that with every movement, there will instantly also be a counter movement.
Yeah, I see. So our last question for you today is, you also mentioned earlier briefly like how you use AI and which part of filmmaking you do yourself. So what parts of filmmaking or acting you think can only humans do?
I think being an actor myself, I feel that you cannot tell how people react. And AI is so like trying to follow maybe an algorithm of what people know. But what makes us humans so interesting is that we're so contradictory and vulnerable. And I think that also that empathy with people, seeing when you hesitate or somebody is like being nervous, even though it's not perfect, this is something we humans can really connect to. And I think that is something the actor's presence, the creative vision of the director, something that AI never can replace.
I think this is quite a tricky topic, but your insight was so interesting as a filmmaker and actress. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So we just heard from a filmmaker and actress about her thoughts on AI, and whether we also talked earlier about whether viewers should be willing to pay the big price, and now AI created works should be considered art in the same way as human-made creations. And this time we also want to hear directly from our viewers. So we ran a poll on the ArtificialIntelligence News YouTube channel asking about this. So here's what the results show. So in our survey, 67% said AI should be recognized as a tool that assists human artists. Another 12% viewed AI as a co-creator that can share credit with humans, while only 9% believe AI should be recognized as a sole creator. And the remaining 12% said it does not matter how AI-generated art is credited. So it is quite interesting that a clear majority see AI as a tool rather than an artist in its own right, and that suggests most people are comfortable with AI assisting the creative process, but still believe that human creators should remain at the center of artistic work. And of course, this debate is not limited to the world of film, and questions about creativity and authorship are also emerging across many different artistic fields. So what other art fields are facing similar debates over AI, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so the AI debate first exploded in 2022 when AI-generated piece won a Colorado art fair. Since then, we've seen a separate categories created for AI art and strict bans enforced in Korean literature also. So, performing arts are eagerly embracing it though. So, choreographer Wayne McGregor created of the AI tool AI Soma sums up this open mindset perfectly. Artists must be the creators of technology, not merely its recipients. So based on the industry, there are kind of different perspectives from this AI industry, yeah.
So while some artists are drawing clear boundaries, others are embracing AI as a new creative partner. And that naturally raises a question of what experts and industry leaders are saying. So what are experts saying about AI and it's the future of art, Cheska?
I think it's very torn, but there is definitely a common theme, which is, people are more positive about accepting AI as part of the creation. But I think Anna, our interviewer, gave us a really brilliant insight, which is now the question is more about how is AI being trained? So the thing is, all the creative work that is put in by the artist is actually being used to feed the algorithm and train the AI. So when it comes to AI generating the artwork, it is actually based on previous work created by the artist. So there's a lot of counter backlash from the artists. And in fact, in 2024, when the UK government considered expanding the access to copyrighted material to train AI, a coalition of artists, musicians, authors, they actually stood up and said, we oppose this strongly, because that would be using all the copyrighted work to train the AI. In fact, it included Paul McCartney, who opposed this proposal. So I think the debate is now more about not just the product that AI creates, but the product that goes in to train the AI.
I think you mentioned copyright, which is, that will lead to a whole different discussion. It's very interesting to talk about that as well. So who owns the copyright to art then created by AI, Minju?
If you really create the copyright, of course, creator has the copyright. So it's very important that who is having a copyright. That's very important part. So you really have to think about it, and you have to really be sure that double check who has the copyright. Yeah.
That means the technology is advancing quickly, but the legal framework is still catching up. So as we wrap up, let's hear your final thoughts on today's discussion. So what are your thoughts on art created by AI after today's discussion, Jessica?
This kind of Susan reminded me of the discussion that we had about AI and religion.
Right.
And if our viewers had seen it, we also ended the conversation by being very honest and saying it's a very tricky ground. But I think the question about art and AI is very similar in that it's not just technological, it's more philosophical and even economical. Because now it's about not only who's making the profit, but about where do we clearly draw the line of what constitutes human labor versus something that is created by technology. Because historically, art has always been about human effort, time, blood, sweat, and tears. Kind of like, I don't know if our viewers seen it. Do you know the sushi dream of Zero, the chef who puts in his entire life work into creating? So I think that's the difficult conversation that we're facing right now.
Right. So what are your thoughts on this, Minju?
If we focus on pure creativity and AI does the heavy lifting, the piece risks losing its essence. So I think if we view art as an experience, using AI simply as a tool to captivate an audience, that becomes a perfectly valid approach. So I think it depends on where we are putting our perspective as a main focus, and that's how we could set the boundaries. How will the using AI will be justified?
So ultimately, AI is no longer a distant idea in the art world, but a present reality, reshaping how creativity is defined and produced. And while opinions differ on its role, the shared challenge is finding a balance between innovation and preserving human authorship. And as this technology continues to evolve, so too will our understanding of what it truly means to create art. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Cheska.
Pleasure's always mine. Thank you.
And also Minju.
Thanks for having me today.
And to our viewers, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you'll be able to work with AI, not compete with it when it comes to music and art. We are
News Generation.